Hello, and welcome back to the TraumaFlavored Chapters. I'm your host, Serenity, and it's so nice to meet you or see you again. This is a place where I share my past and present chapters with you completely unfiltered. There are no filters here. It is to create pure connection and healing. But today is not about my chapters. It is a guest episode. So it's about somebody else's chapters. And I am so excited to have him on today. He has been such a huge part of my healing process and healing journey. And I know he's been a part of so many others. And so I'm just so excited. I did write him an introduction because he encompasses so much. And I would like to honor everything he does and give him a proper introduction. So his name is Nick TNT. Nick TNT is a breathwork facilitator, speaker, author, musician, and the founder of Breath of Life Wellness, where he is helping people reconnect with themselves through the transformative power of the breath. After overcoming addiction and celebrating more than a decade of recovery, Nick has dedicated his life to understanding what truly creates lasting healing and transformation. His work brings together conscious connected breathwork, internal family systems, informed practices, mindfulness, and community to help people reduce stress, process unresolved emotions, and cultivate greater understanding, resilience, and authenticity. Alongside his wife, Paulina, a therapist and trauma informed practitioner, Nick leads sold out retreats, facilitator trainings, and weekly breathwork experiences in Maui, as well as an online community with members from all around the world. Together, they have created a space where people can slow down, reconnect with themselves, and experience a meaningful personal experience in a supportive environment. Nick is also the author of the book called Breath of Life: Finding Long-Term Recovery and Breath Work and Step Work. And he has recently released his debut spoken word and conscious hip hop album called Unburdened, blending music, storytelling, and breathwork into a unique healing experience. Today, we will explore psychology and spirituality of the breath, what it means to truly heal, and how something as simple and accessible as breathing can become a powerful pathway to freedom, connection, and living a more authentic life. We will also explore the topic of men's mental health and ways for men to heal. At the end of this episode, we will give men the steps to start their healing journey and questions to ask yourself. The goal is for men and women to heal as a community. So please welcome our guest today, Nick TNT.
Hey.
Welcome to the Trauma Flavored Chapters. Today is a guest episode, and I'm super excited to introduce Nick. He is a very, very important person in my life. He is one of the most life-changing people I have ever met.
Aw.
Your breath work has impacted so many people. And I thought it was really, really important to have you on because you completely changed the alteration of my life. So I'm just very grateful for you taking the time to record with me and take time to just yap.
Yapping.
Just yapping. So what are some things that the audience would need to know before we hop into your everything?
What do they need to know? Shoots. Well, first of all, I'm really excited for you and grateful that you had the courage to be creative and honor your path and to call this vision forward, with the
Thank you.
podcast I remember when I first met you and I feel like so much heaviness that you were carrying as a young lady,
Oh, there is a lot.
I was like, whoa.
You said, oh my God.
Well, and the breath work is one of those things where, as somebody that facilitates these journeys, you can kind of really visually see what people are carrying by the intense, visible reaction to the process.
Oh yeah. Every time I see you guys, I'm like sobbing my eyes out and just the first time I think it was Mother's Day that I did the breath work and I had never really dealt with my mom.
Got it.
I like dealt with her through like therapy and stuff. My therapist was like, "Hey, I have homework for you. You should go to this breathwork class."
Yeah.
And I felt so resistant to it. And now every time I feel any resistance to your guys' like community, what do you say, classes, community? Yeah. I call it Sunday breathitis, whatever you want to call it. Like anytime I feel any resistance to that, I know I need to go. And
Yeah.
I'm like, oh, you should go.
Yeah. Well, and the beautiful thing to witness is, sometimes people will come and have a hard experience, but also release a lot.
Oh, yeah.
But then they stop coming, because I think there's a part of ourselves that, although we can have a cathartic release
Yeah.
and touch parts of ourselves that have been repressed or suppressed or exiled, if you will,
Hmm.
and then they won't come back because maybe there's a part that's like, not today,
It's
like I don't need to
scary.
do it again.
Yeah.
But the
I
people
feel
that
that
do
sometimes.
continue,
Yeah.
then what I would say is like, when I see you now, not that the breath work is responsible for that,
Oh no,
but
I've talked about I've actually talked to you about you guys on other episodes,
okay.
and I believe for my healing journey, I
Mm.
believe that breathwork was a shortcut to my healing.
Mm.
I don't think there's always shortcuts to healing, but from my personal experience, I think breathwork was a complete shortcut of just like quantum leaping my healing
I
experience,
love
and
that.
just
Yeah.
like I did 4 years. I'm in therapy, and I've been in therapy since I was 18, and so I think I was in therapy for about 4 years, and I came to you guys, and it like
Yeah.
completely like 180'd my healing experience, and I was
Yeah.
actually able to like sit with my mom and
Yeah.
like experience that like spiritual relationship with her, which I didn't before you guys. So
Sure. Yeah.
I think healing or like breath work is like a huge part of
Sure.
it. So
Well, just from my perspective, like when I don't like to take the title as a
yeah,
healer and this kind of
yeah,
stuff, but what I believe the best healers do is they allow people to find that truth of the healing that's already within you
yes,
and just help guide you back to that
that
place.
whole, because you're automatically whole when you come here, but it's you guys like
Yeah.
reminding me that I am whole.
Yeah. And so when I see people, because you've come several times, and so then
Mhm,
I get to watch, um, basically it's all energy.
mhm.
So when people are stuck in some lower vibrational frequencies of energy, and it's like it's trying to come out their system,
Yeah,
and the energy is trying to move, and that unburdening process. And so sometimes people stop and they don't keep coming for whatever reason, might not be their season or the time.
yeah.
But then when I see people that do continue, and it's like the energy comes lighter
Oh, a
and
lot
it's not
lighter.
so tense,
Oh yeah,
and then the spirit of creativity come in, and they start making podcasts,
yeah.
and sharing that, um, sharing their experience with other people,
Yes.
and it's so powerful.
I told on one of my episodes, it was my mom's episode, and I gave kind of like the steps of healing that I did, and one of the steps was breath work for sure.
Yeah.
I therapy and like breath work, finding people that are like willing to like meet you where you're at, I think
Mhm.
is so important, because sometimes you guys have such an array of like life experiences, and just for you to like meet me where I was at with
Yeah.
breath work was like so needed. I think the fourth time that I came, I was like, I talked to Pauline about it. I was like, I didn't cry.
Hmm.
I was like,
Right.
what's wrong? She's like, honey, I think you're just healing.
Yeah, 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 yeah,
And I
yeah.
was like, what's wrong with you? She's like, nothing's wrong. You've just done the work. And I was like, oh,
Yeah.
okay.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah. And we don't have to force it. And it's interesting because I tell people that a lot of times, because people that come a lot, we always carry an expectation, well,
oh,
what is it going to be
100%.
like, and what's going to happen, and so we bring those parts to the practice. And so
Mm.
what I try to ask people is just act as if this is your first time again, act as if this is the first
Oh,
experience. And
that's a
then you could
great
even
part.
take it deeper, say act as if this is the first breath that you've taken. And it's interesting because we've all been breathing for so long, and I mention this sometimes during the breathwork practice, is that the very first thing that we do as humans,
Hmm.
we're inside of our mother, of course,
Yes.
and mom's breathing for us at that time. And then we come to the light, we come uh, out into this space,
Hmm.
and we take our first breath, you know, and that's our first introduction
Yeah.
to this world. And then we take it with, most of the time we scream, the baby's
Yeah.
you know and so that's a part of the breathwork journey sometimes too. But
That's one of my favorite parts.
yeah, and there's something about that, and it's like a rebirth. It's like so that's the thing. And then if you think to yourself, well, if I'm present to treat each breath like it's my first breath, then it comes right to this present moment. Because the truth is, is this is our first breath in this moment, and we don't really have much else.
That's true. It puts you really in the present, which
Yeah.
is I think it's just magic. Like it
Yeah.
feels like magic to like even just sitting here talking with you. I'm like, wow, I feel like so much more like present, and it
Yeah.
feels nice, and it's you just have like this beautiful energy to you that brings I think people more in the present too. I think maybe I don't know if it's maybe because I've done your breath work so many times and
Sure.
now I'm around you. I'm like, oh, we can be present now.
Yeah.
Like
We can be here.
yeah, we can be here. We can be here and just like be still. So you
Yeah.
do. So you have the breath work with Paulina,
Yeah.
his wife.
Yeah.
And so what else?
So yeah, so Breath of Life
Breath of Life,
is
yeah.
kind of a brand that has taken on different shapes and forms. There's a book,
Mhm.
Breath of Life, which is a book that I published about a little over 3 years ago. But it's interesting because most of the writing came for about a 3 or 4 year process before that, and then the publishing and the editing, and then or pardon me, the editing, the rewriting, and then the publishing.
Mhm.
So it's interesting, it's 3-year-old book, but it feels the stories could be it's
You
like my
feel
whole life
yeah.
story.
You're like this is my whole life
and
story.
then now we are, basically 6 or 7 years later. So I'm
That's
starting a new
crazy.
process of a new book.
I did not know that.
I know so many things change in that and evolve over time, of course. So Breath of Life, Finding Long-Term Recovery with Breathwork and Step Work
Mhm.
was the book. And then Breath of Life Wellness, which is like our company where we do here in this space, the breathwork journeys, the community breathwork is how that
Yes.
started. Really happened right after the Lahaina fires. And it was interesting because we started to do the breathwork journeys here with my wife and I. That was all organic. It wasn't like planned that way.
Oh, I love that.
Yeah, so she started holding space, and then it was clear that she had a gift for holding space and kind of that intuitive somatic touch while people are going through the breathwork journey.
Yeah.
Which I know we're going to talk about men's mental health later and some of these other topics, but when you're in a vulnerable, altered state of consciousness, and having a man facilitate, to have a container with a husband and a wife together while the wife is also facilitating by holding space, it really creates a real safe container for people.
It creates a beautiful container. It's like a perfect balance between the two. You have like the good, like masculine, like safe energy, but then you also have like the mother, like feminine energy as well. And like have both, it's a beautiful experience. Having Paulina, I swear, anytime Paulina comes by me, she hovers, I start sobbing more. I'm like, stay away. Like, but in the most like beautiful way, because it lets your guard down with the masculine and feminine.
Totally. So, and that was all just organic. Like we weren't planning that. Like, oh, it's going to be such a safer container if we do this together. It was just, everything just developed in a really organic way. And so that would have been June, July of 2023.
I did not know that.
Yeah, so it's kind of interesting. So June and then July is when I published my book on July 6th, which is really interesting because the year before we moved into this house on July 6th. So it's just kind of funky. But
just
and then
divine.
Of course, I know. And then of course August 3rd, or pardon me, I think it was August 8th is when the Lahaina fires were.
Whoa. So everything was like
so it's like I got this book. We had this in the first 2 months of doing the breath work. There was a lot of people, a lot of energy was around it, and people were sharing it. You got to go do this, and then boom, the Lahaina fires happened, and so we're just like, holy shit.
It's needed. It was needed. And
but then there was a part of us that was like, okay, like we got to help our community. We got to try to figure out how to get people into houses and this, that, and the other thing. So it was really like a question mark. And at that time, we were charging people individually to come and do breath work. And so what we decided to do from that point was just to offer this community practice as a contribution-based offering.
Yeah, it makes it so everybody can come.
Anybody can come, and it's kind of interesting. I always like to share this with people. There's a difference between a donation and a contribution. And so like a donation by definition is something that you give, but you're not necessarily a part of it. So I could give a donation to like the Habitat for Humanity,
Yeah.
or I can give a donation to like whatever
Whatever it is.
nonprofit,
Yeah.
right? But a contribution means that I'm contributing to something that I've taken part in, that I've participated in.
Ah.
So it's a
It's
subtle
just
shift,
yeah,
but from my perspective, there's a lot more value in a contribution
then a
because I can
donation.
contribute in other ways, not just monetarily. You know, I can
Yeah.
share about the practice. I can put up some flyers for people. I can share it on my social media. I can do a
Yeah.
testimonial, you know,
You can do all
and then
these
a
things.
donation is just like here, you know,
You said
which
give
is
it all.
fine.
It's fine, but it's like contribution. You're more connected.
It's different.
Yeah.
And so we started doing that right after, and it was amazing because, you know, this one experience in particular always stands out to me over the hundreds and hundreds. It's there was a guy, and after the Lahaina fires, you know, people that lost their homes were moving around to a lot of different hotels,
Mm-hmm.
and people were offering contribution based or free um, services for people.
Mm-hmm.
And his wife was dragging him around to all these different places. Now they had 3 kids, and they had been to 5 different hotels in that period of time.
Yeah.
And they did, and this is not to, I'm not throwing any shade at like equine therapy. It's
Yeah.
great. But he's like, my wife took me to equine therapy. He's like, they took me to do some tapping. They took me to do
Mm-hmm.
regular talk therapy.
Yeah.
Like there's all these things that he had done. And then he's like, oh, great. She's dragging me to breathing.
Oh, no.
A breathing class.
He's absolutely
Like, are you
not.
fucking kidding me? Like, I'm already breathing.
He's over it.
I'm already breathing, you know? And, but he comes anyways. And he works at the hospital. And he has this profound experience with the breathing. And as you know, with some of the meditations, with the heart expansive meditation and the gratitude and the love and the future self and all those things. And he's like, I had been so angry about the moving and the fire and the loss and all this stuff. He goes, I forgot how grateful I am for my wife, for my children. So when he was in the gratitude meditation, he just remembered he saw his kids when they were born. He saw himself in the wedding when he got married. And he just had a very emotional, deep experience. And he just basically said to me, you know, all these things that I've done, none of them have been helping me. And he said, this has helped me.
It's potent. It's intense. I've brought people and they're like, oh my God. Like I brought people and sometimes it's not for them. Sometimes it is. And like, but breath work, it's funny because I used to do breath work before I met you guys. I've gone on yoga retreats. I'm like, I've done breath work. This will be easy. This is easier. And I was like, what the hell is going on? In the most beautiful way. It was just so potent, and like how you guys like organize it too, like in just step by step. It's like perfect. And like I love the heart opening meditation part. That I always think of like my mom. I always like whenever I come here, it's always like connected to her somehow, some way. She comes in, and it's just like beautiful. Sometimes I think like Paulina's standing by me, but it's actually just her, and I'm like, oh hey, and she's like, it's whatever you interpret it to be. And it's like there's no pressure here, and it's just such an open container, and it's like when people get to experience it, it's just magic. And I'm grateful that many people keep coming, and like well, you come sometimes and I'm like, there's so many people here. I think my first one I came to was on Mother's Day, so no one was really here because people were out with their moms, and there was like a couple people. I was like, "Oh, this is nice. This is cute," and then I was like, "Oh my God!" But I think it's like when you were talking about the contribution, it's not only like when I am doing my contribution, I think about it. I'm like, wow, it's like I'm also contributing to like the group, because when you're in like the group, you're hearing someone else cry like next to you or scream or whatever it is, and I feel like it opens you up more. Because then like in smaller groups you definitely feel it, but the big groups you're like, oh, I like the laughing part too. It's fun. Like you hear someone have the funniest laugh or whatever it is, it just like breaks you open more than you thought you were already open. You're like, oh whoa.
Totally yeah. So that's kind of where it was birthed in, you know, was out of that tragedy. And I think for a lot of people in our community, you know, the fires kind of got them to our doorstep in a way to come here. But the breathwork journeys weren't about the fires. you
No.
know. And
Yeah.
that was the interesting thing, is like the guy's experience, my children, my wife, my gratitude, my life, like, so some of that trauma brought people here, but it wasn't about the
Yeah.
crisis.
Yeah.
That brought people together because it's like we need healing in some way, and then
Yeah.
it was very organic, just like you said. It would tell a friend, tell a family member. When people have this experience, and it's one of our deepest honors, is that people go, oh, I want to bring my loved one, or oh, I want to bring my mom, or oh, I want to bring my dad or my brother or my
Mm.
best friend. And that gentleman who came here and had that experience, he works at the hospital.
Mhm.
So he took a bunch of our flyers, and the suggested contribution is $50. So
Yeah.
he would put $50 and staple it to the flyer and give it to some of the people from the
Whoa.
hospital to come, to
That's
try it.
so sweet. Oh
I
my gosh. He's
know.
like, you guys need this. Here's your $50. Go.
People today, there was somebody here last night that came from Richard,
Oh my
yeah, that said, yeah,
gosh.
Richard has been raving about it still yet at the
I
hospital.
love
Yeah,
that. He's every patient. He's like, have you done breath work?
I know, right?
He's like,
Exactly.
do you need breath work? How about you?
Well, and that's it. And we've done a couple breathwork journeys for our mental health providers, and then also our healthcare
Mm.
providers. People that hold so much at
Yeah.
the hospitals and in therapy world and all that stuff.
My
And
therapist has come here. That's how I met you guys. My therapist has been here. I feel like it's funny being on Maui. You get to like have close connections here. And like I remember my therapist was here, and she's like, "Is it okay that I'm here?" I'm like, "Is it okay if I'm here?" And she's
right,
like, "This is great." And I was like, "Yeah, we're having a great time."
yeah,
It's like it's so, and like I've known her for so many years, and it's just to be able to see her
yeah,
be uplifted and even be in a community space where I like, because we have like the group at the end where we are
mhm,
able to share. It was nice to be able to hold space for her in a way,
yeah,
and to know that there's so many like mental health workers or like hospital people, like just to be able to get that moment to like
yes,
breathe. They're like, oh, I give.
hmm,
Let's let them give to me
yeah,
at one point.
yeah.
Yeah, it's nice to see that.
So yeah,
But
then other than that, like the book, and then the practice, and it really did start kind of growing a lot early. And so
mhm,
now we're kind of 3 years later, and we started hosting retreats.
the
So
retreats are
we've
so
done,
exciting.
yeah, so we've done 3 full retreats so far, and we have our fourth one. We just did the Breath of Life retreat at the Haleakua Retreat Center.
I've seen that on social media. It was so
Oh
pretty. Oh my
gosh,
gosh.
something about community, coming together is so much healing comes from that. And I was listening. If you ever get a chance, there's this lady, Dr. Lisa Miller. Have you ever heard of her?
Mm-mm.
She's a psychologist. She's a professor at Columbia. She's also a scientist in the I don't want to misremember it, but it's something like the neuroscience of spirituality or something. So
Ooh.
she does research and around the science of the brain, and
Mm.
she also does a lot of work in the addiction psychology world. And she was talking about how the number one killer of our adolescents right now is what they call deaths of despair.
Ah.
So things like drug addiction, overdoses,
Mm.
and things that are connected to dying through despair.
Mm.
And she said that through beta analysis and these testing and this research that they've done, that with about 82% efficacy, that we could heal this community with what she boiled it down to would be called a transcendent community of shared love.
Ooh.
Transcendent
Yeah.
community of shared love. She's like, if we could put that into a pill and 82% would would work,
Yeah.
she's like, we'd give it to everybody,
Yeah.
you know. And it was interesting because I was listening to that, and she didn't really offer where somebody would find a transcendent community of shared love.
Yeah. You're like,
But
where's
I
the
was
pill?
in my sauna, and I was like, that's what we're doing. That's what Breath of Life is,
It's 100% what that is. It's
Yeah. And so then when you have retreat, people come together. Like you've been here for the journeys, and it's a nice 3 hours together that we
yeah.
can hang out and cruise. And there's a lot of beautiful elements to that. But when we drop in for 5 nights, and we're together and we're sharing meals, and then we're doing the work, and then the IFS experiential work that we do as well,
Yes.
and the yoga and all that stuff
And then internal family systems,
Yeah,
in case no one knows.
yeah.
I was like,
IFS,
yeah.
IFS. Yeah, and so that combination is just so potent, and it's in a very similar way. Like I couldn't really imagine the community from the breath work that we've done here,
Hmm.
and then the retreat is like way beyond my expectations as
Mm,
far as the connections and
yeah.
the ways that people are healing together. And so that's kind of my perspective on that. Like the last retreat we just had, like as you continue to facilitate, just like with anything, as you
Hmm.
continue to do these podcasts, your interviews are going to get better and better and better, and the way
Yeah.
you do it. And that was similar with the breath work and the IFS, and then now the retreats. And it's like,
It's kind of a natural flow of things. Of like, I had no idea that you guys have been only. And I say only in like the most respectful, only 3 years, because it feels like you guys have been doing this forever.
right?
Like it feels like the systems that you have, like I want to say in place, or how you facilitate things. It feels like you've been doing this for
Yeah.
like 20 years.
Yeah.
Like it feels like
Well, yeah, it's like,
natural.
when you meet somebody and you're like, God, I feel like I've known you my whole life.
Exactly. That's
like that.
exactly how it
When
feels
you
when you
find
come
your
in.
thing and you're
Yeah.
like, damn, I feel like I've been doing this forever.
Forever. I feel like when it's the natural flow of like how it's supposed to be, because I feel like when you're trying to force something
Yeah.
to be what you want it to be, it's like, no, I want it, like it, the natural, I think, flow of the universe is like, no, here, we're gonna give it to you, and you're like,
Yeah.
no, put it this way, and you're
Yeah.
just like, if you just like let it naturally come to you, it's
Sure.
like such a beautiful process to like watch you guys go
Yeah.
through, and even like experience in other people's lives.
And it's natural, and for me, it's cool because, and we're going to talk about this a little more, it might be a good segue into it, but, I, since a very young age, loved to use words for like poetry and then rapping and rhyming, like not nursery rhymes, but rhymes at a young age.
Yeah.
Just making up words.
Yeah.
And people go, oh, that's cool, and then I'm talking like 6, 7, 8, 9 years old. And then sometimes, I'd say inappropriate things at a
Yeah.
young age, and then the kids would like that more because it was like, oh, that's naughty or whatever.
Yeah.
And then I would make fun of people, which wasn't the nicest thing to do, but there's an element of that in rap music where you're like,
Oh yeah, it's poking. It's like
there's a competitive spirit to it.
Oh yeah.
All this stuff. So I just recently published my first full-length music project, which it's 4 studio recorded breathwork tracks, shorter breathwork tracks for people to practice on a daily basis, and then it's 10 hip-hop spoken word
I was listening to them
songs.
this morning, actually.
You did?
I was listening because I was like, oh, I saw it out, I think a little, I forget what you released it, but I think I saw it once on Instagram, and I went to click on it, and then I'm ADD moment.
Okay.
And then you sent it to me, and I was like, oh, I'm going to listen to this while I get ready today. And I was like, whoa, I did not expect that. I was like, when you're like, you have no expectations, you're like, what's going on? And I was like, holy crap. I was like, what's going on here? I listened to the first few songs, and then I didn't realize, like you said, there was a breathwork track into it. And I was literally listening to it while I was just like brushing my teeth. And I was like, oh, this is nice to just like put yourself on this frequency.
It's so good. It's so good. And so that's the thing. So for your listeners that haven't experienced a breath work, so the way that I do it is I facilitate that using words, kind of guiding an experience, from the beginning till the end, right? And so in a lot of ways, it's like a song, I guess, or there's obviously a performative element to it.
Yeah.
And it's almost like you're conducting a musical.
An orchestra, yeah.
And
I can
there's
feel
energy.
it.
and so in that way, I was like, gosh, this fits my gifts and talents that I have.
100%.
So
I listened to it this morning, and I was like, oh my gosh, this is like perfect. Because when you facilitate the breath work, you have the perfect cadence to like do what you're doing. Like when you facilitate the breath work, like your cadence, your energy, like everything, it feels like when you put like a puzzle in a puzzle piece and just into place perfectly.
I love that.
It's exactly what it feels like when you're doing breath work. And like I've gone so many times, and each time I'm like, oh, that puzzle piece moment. It's like a little triangle. Like, so
It's
that's
so
how it
nice
feels like.
hearing you say that, because words of affirmation is one of my love
Oh,
languages.
love it.
Although I like getting gifts, and I like all of the
Oh
actual
yeah, I
love
think most
languages,
of them do.
but
Yeah.
words of affirmation are just
You're
like,
like,
oh
oh,
yeah, 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 yeah.
I
Tell
feel
me
like
more.
we're
Tell me
please,
more.
please,
Tell me
please,
more.
please.
Yeah.
You're like, oh yeah, it's definitely just absolutely amazing. And when I was listening to your music this morning, I was like, oh my gosh, this is exactly what it feels like to be in the breathwork class. Like
Mm.
in with the community too, it feels exactly like that.
Well, and that's the whole. So when I that's the whole goal, is that,
Hmm.
I talked to other musicians and people that before I put the, the album out, and they said, well, people are only doing singles now. Like,
Mm.
people don't really do full albums anymore or something. And I was like, I don't care what people do.
Yeah, no.
I want it to
You
be
said
this
this is my path.
experience,
Yeah.
this thing. And so I'm glad that you're experiencing it in that way.
Hmm.
But yeah, the facilitation really allowed me to honor that part of myself that like to use words, that like
Hmm.
to um, perform and create an experience for people
Yeah.
with words, which is what spoken word does, what poetry does, what
Hmm.
music in general does. And then being a breathwork facilitator with the music really filled that for
Yeah.
me,
It really like pieced the two together.
and here's the interesting part, and I share this with people too, is that, if you've ever have you ever heard of the artist way?
I don't know exactly. I heard of it, but I explain.
It's a book that came out like 25 years ago. I'm just getting hip to it because I had
Mhm.
heard about it as well, but I'm in the middle of doing it, and it's a challenge, and I think they customize it, not a challenge, it's a way
Yeah.
where for 90 days you write for 10 minutes in the morning,
Hmm.
you do a voice memo telling a story every
Mm.
day for 5 to 10 minutes, and then you go on an artist date, which each person's different, but basically you just go somewhere once a week by yourself and you just observe things around you, or you play an
Ooh.
instrument, and then you do that for 90 days.
Oh, I love that.
But what this lady says, and I don't remember the name of the author, but she says, I believe that everybody is creative
Hmm.
because we all came from creation, right?
Ooh, I love
So
that.
because we're a part of creation, or a creator, if you believe in that way,
Hmm.
I like creation, but that we all have a creative nature. And
100%.
so, looking at you with your creativity around the podcast and what you're doing, and then for me, it was through music and through the words.
Hmm.
And so the breath work brought me back into that creativity because, even with writing the book, it's like there was a part of me that's like, nobody is going to want to read your book, right?
Oh,
I'm
that
I'm
the inner
older,
voice.
yeah,
The
the
inner
inner
voice.
critic.
Yeah.
And then but I was doing the breath work, and then I get this creativity about writing. Okay, I'm writing the book.
Yeah.
Okay, boom, and people really love the book
The book
because
is
it's
amazing. Yeah.
vulnerable and people like it. Okay, and then so it takes courage, and then more breath work, more of this way, and
Hmm.
then more creativity.
Yeah.
And so
More.
now I want to do the rapping again and the rhyming, just like I did when I was a kid.
Yeah.
And I know
It's that
you.
like inner child. You're like connecting your adult to your like inner child. Your inner child has
That's
probably
it.
been like screaming like, "Please, I just want to rap. I just want to do this." And then your breath work is like giving you access to your inner child, and now you're like piecing them
It's
like
giving you
together.
life. And,
Yeah.
and and so that's the thing, is that the creativity doesn't have an age,
No, not at
you know.
never. No.
And
Not
so
at
that's the
all.
cool part about it. And it's funny because, Coco, my daughter, who's 19,
Crazy.
she plays my music with her friends, and they're like, oh God, like, but then they listen to it, they go, oh, it's really good. And I said,
Yeah.
okay, great. Like, if you can impress the teenagers and stuff, then,
Yeah.
you go, okay, then it's almost like there's no age
Well, it's to
with
connect to the
creativity. There's no like age group. It's just
yeah
kind of like
universal.
it's universal.
It's like
It's a
universally
universal
connecting.
language. Yeah.
Like it's connecting
Yeah.
to everybody. It's not just for I think it's so interesting, speaking of like creativity, that people are like, "Oh, I'm not an artist." And I'm like, "No, there's somewhere in you. It could be like I used to have a crochet business. I've
Mm.
never liked crochet. My sister can draw." Like so many people put so much pressure on what creativity means to them,
Hmm.
and they're like, "I'm not creative."
Right.
And they just like push it down. I'm like, those little sparks that come up like with your rapping, you're like, just little
Yeah.
hey, okay. And it's
Yeah.
like this podcast. I'm like, I like to yap. I love to talk. It's
Yeah.
just, it makes me sparkle.
Yeah.
And I'm like, why not just like follow that flow? And I
Hmm.
think so many people put so much pressure on it.
Yeah. Totally. Totally.
But
So
yeah.
yeah, I mean that's pretty much everything that I got going on.
Hmm.
Paulina and I, we've been married now for um, coming up on 5 years.
Oh my gosh.
Um, she just got pregnant recently. I know.
Yay! We've been waiting.
It's
I
incredible.
oh,
Yeah.
it's so exciting, a new chapter of life. And I know that you guys have been wanting this, and I've talked to Paulina a little bit about it.
Yeah.
And like, I don't know if this does connect to your ayahuasca
Yeah.
story.
Yeah. It
Okay, I
does.
think okay,
Yeah.
I talked to Paulina a little bit about it, so I'm not gonna spoil anything.
Okay.
But
Yeah. Yeah.
I
Yeah. Yeah.
remember I was like, okay, I was like, how do we connect to that? And I was like, this is a perfect
Yeah.
segue.
Well, and that's what I like about real, true conversations. They just flow naturally. And
Yes.
so, yeah. So I can tell you that story. Is that okay?
Yeah, of course.
Okay. So, well, so my spiritual journey started with sobriety,
Mhm.
and so early on in that journey, that's what I needed: 12-step recovery,
Mhm.
meetings, and I needed to be fully indoctrinated into a system
Yeah.
because my life uh, was in rough shape and I didn't have any discipline and any structure. And so
Mhm.
the 12-step recovery community really helped me to um, build a new foundation in my life
Mhm.
that was based on spiritual principles. It was based on honesty and integrity and service to others. So that was a beautiful start for me on my spiritual journey. So when I got introduced to breathwork and I become part of this breathwork community, and then I started to facilitate breathwork and create
Mhm.
community, there's a symbiotic kind of relationship between plant medicine
Mhm.
and breathwork
Yeah.
because they all, both create altered states of consciousness.
Yes.
And so when people would see me, they see my tattoos and they just assume that
Mhm.
I have done plant medicine before. Well, I'm sober. So,
Mhm.
but it was an interesting thing just because then when you're in that algorithm online, so I'm seeing about breathwork retreats, and then
Yeah.
it's like, well, here's an ayahuasca retreat, and then here's a, you know, uh,
The algorithm's speaking to you. Say,
yeah, you start to
hey.
see it, and then then I start to hear people talk about it. I've had many friends, and then many people, even in the mental health and substance abuse space, are starting to use
Mhm.
different plant medicines and different ways to help people heal trauma, which we talked about,
Mhm.
and so they're having a lot of success helping people that struggle tremendously with
Yeah.
mental health and substance abuse addiction. So I started to research it and look into it, but I was very cautious because being somebody that is clean and sober and that
Yeah.
comes from a background of addiction, in particular in that world, it's a very black and white world.
Mhm.
You're either sober or you're not,
Yeah.
and there's a emphasis on long-term sobriety and keeping your sobriety date. And so I
Yeah.
was like, well, what does that mean for me if I want to try ayahuasca? You know, am I
Mm.
still sober? Am I not? And blah 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 blah, and that whole
Yeah.
story.
Well,
So
it's a
I
big part. It's a big part. You're like,
yeah,
I don't want to fuck this up or whatever it
well, and
is.
it's
Yeah.
not so much the story really is what will other people think about it, right? That's
Uh,
the
the
story you
story
make
that's
up in
being
your head, is
told.
that
Yeah.
people are keeping track and all this kind of stuff.
Yeah.
And so I had to do some work around that,
Mhm.
and then I discovered that this is my story, it's my life, and my intention for the ceremony
Mhm.
was an intention of becoming a better version of myself. It
Mm.
was an intention of being more present and intimate in relationship with my wife because
Mhm.
I carry a lot of um, patterns and a lot of, let's just say, um, trauma
Yeah.
in my life around relationships,
Mhm.
how I show up in relationships, and just all this kind of stuff. And even though I was sober for so long and did a lot of work, there was still more work that needed to be done.
Yeah.
And so my wife and I decided that we were going to do an ayahuasca ceremony in
Mm.
Costa Rica, and that was 1 year ago. And so um, I'm going to try to summarize the story so it's because I could talk about it for
Five
probably a
hours.
couple hours. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
But we went down there And the cool part about it was this place was called Soltara.
Uh,
So a plug for Soltara.
plug.
And it's one of the nicer, bougier
Yeah.
experiences. You know, some people go to like a jungle in Peru and they're doing it, you know.
You said go under a cave.
Yeah. Yeah. But we went to this really nice place because we wanted to be taken care of.
Well, yeah, it's a serious
And there's a
thing.
doctor, and then there's a lot of professionals that are there. And so that's what we decided to do. And in that process, there's about a month long of intention setting.
Mm-hmm.
There's a start of a diet. 2 weeks closer, there's a more restrictive diet, and then all the way to the last week, it's like they don't want you to have sex. There's no caffeine. All these things.
Because there's like probably a lot of dopamine within a lot of those, so it makes sense.
They don't want to stress your system too much. They don't want
Yeah.
you doing a lot of other healing work. They really just want you to come in with a clean slate, and I would say as much as possible, you know, a balanced nervous system.
That makes sense. Yeah.
And so before I get into that, I want to tell you that when my wife and I first met, she had said she didn't want to have children.
Mhm.
She was in a partnership, a relationship before. There was 2 children that her ex had.
Mm-hmm.
She came out of that relationship. She connected with me.
Mm-hmm.
I have 2 daughters from a previous relationship, and so she also had kind of said she didn't want to put her body through that process. And so I said okay, and then we were together, and I was okay because I had 2 older children. And then as we got married, and time went on, things started to change.
Mm-hmm.
And so she had said that maybe now she did want to have a baby.
Yeah.
Right. And I was like, oh, okay, this is a little different. So, you know, my oldest daughter is 24, Coco's 19. At that time was probably 2 years ago when we were in contemplation about it.
Mm-hmm.
So after some back and forth, and for me, I told her that yes, we could do it,
Mm-hmm.
but I wasn't 100% in on it at that time because I was in my head.
Mm-hmm.
I was thinking about practicality, though.
Yeah.
I was thinking about, okay, the other, you know, Stacia's becoming a pilot. We're paying for that. Coco's still in private high school. We're paying for that.
Yeah.
So for me, I was thinking practically in my head.
Yeah.
I was very far from my heart, you see. And so at that time, we were still in contemplation, but she decided, okay, we won't do it. We shelf it.
Okay.
Now, I think if at that time I would have been more in my heart, then I would have been the one that was pushing to do that, and I would have wanted to do it at the time.
Yeah.
So we go down to do ayahuasca with no consideration of having a baby. Mm-hmm. That wasn't on the radar. We were just going down there.
We're just here for this.
We're just trying to get some healing and trying to get closer to our authentic selves.
Yeah.
So we get down there. Now, the way that the ayahuasca works there is it's a 7-night retreat, but you do medicine 4 nights.
Oh my gosh.
So like every other night, basically. Yeah. So they start you out small. The first night, nothing really happens for me. But I'm also bringing that mindset of like drug and alcohol history, like just, you know, like don't do too much. There's fear around this. Like I don't want to slip up and mess up my life because of this thing.
Well, it's kind of scary too.
It's a little bit scary, especially if you've been sober for that long and you haven't had any mind-altering substances
100%.
besides breath work.
Yeah.
So I take the 1 dose. It was kind of a funky experience. It wasn't like, oh my God, profound. I was just really like in my body a lot, and it was somatic. But the one thing that the facilitators were saying was instead of treating it like individual nights, try to think of it as one whole experience. First night, second night, third night, fourth night. So keep in mind that this medicine is very intuitive and intelligent, and that it's a full experience.
It's not like 1, 2, 3, 4. Yeah.
Yeah, but in your mind, you're like, well, when am I going to take off? When's this healing going to happen for me? So
it is step 1. What are you talking about?
The first night was just okay. It wasn't anything profound.
Mm-hmm.
So then the second night, I take a little bit more than the first night. There's also a part of ayahuasca that you purge. So people throw up, or they go number 2.
Mm-hmm.
Some people cry a lot as a purging. Some people sweat a lot. And there's all these different ways to purge. well, I don't like that.
Yeah,
I don't
you're
like
like,
to throw up, and
I
I
don't
don't
want
like,
to. I don't want
so
to.
the second night I could kind of feel it, and there's buckets to where you can
Yeah.
use. I'm about to purge right now. No,
You said purging starts now.
and so I'm hearing people throw up and stuff, and I started to feel sick in my stomach,
Oh God, when you hear someone else want to throw up and then you're like,
but it's not like coming up for me, and so it's kind
okay,
of this uncomfortable state,
limbo.
and I was dry heaving,
Hmm.
and then they're like, "Do you want some more medicine?" And I'm like, "No."
You said,
Like,
calm down.
if I'm already feeling sick, like I don't want to take more.
Yeah.
Well, the second night, Paulina has amazing experience,
Mm.
and I don't. It was kind of like anger. There was different parts of me that came up
Mm.
around like my dad and different things that come online for me.
Yeah.
But primarily, the first 2 nights for me were just like just profound confusion, right? So
Ah.
now I'm done through the second night, and then I'm starting to be a little bit fearful. Like, am I going to have a good experience? Because Paulina had this like
Oh.
super
The
amazing
story's starting
experience
to
to where like
happen.
she shifted the DNA in her body and like had this
Whoa.
like whole um like a system refresh,
Oh, like a little
like
reset too. Oh my God.
totally.
And
And
you're
I'm
sitting
like,
here, the story's starting. You're like,
we're
what the
we're
heck?
going back up to our villa together, and I'm like, all right, on, and I'm trying to be happy for her,
Yeah, because
but
she's
of
like
course
having
I'm
this
thinking
life
about
altering
myself,
experience. And then you're like, what about me? You're like, I came here too. And yeah.
So I'm talking to one of the facilitators. He's this English dude, and he's like, listen, mate. He goes, you need to take more medicine.
Mm.
He said it kind of like that,
I
with the
love that. You're
British
just like,
accent.
okay.
And he's like, he goes, I
Does he
know.
talk to you through the whole experience?
I know you're coming here with the background in addiction and substance abuse
Mm.
recovery. He goes, this is not drugs, okay? He goes, this is not drugs. He goes, so you need to take more medicine to have the experience.
Mm.
So I'm like, okay. So the third night, I'm like, here we go. We're going
You're like,
in.
we're going in. We're diving in.
We're going
putting
in.
our goggles on. Let's go.
So I start out with 2, and I'm in the third night, and I'm like, come on, let's. And it's kind of the same thing again. Like,
Oh my gosh.
it's like I'm thinking, like, is there something wrong with me? And I'm
Mm.
sitting there, and I'm like, fuck, it's still this, like, it's just not going anywhere for me in the experience. And then I start to think to myself, like, there's something wrong with you. Like, something is wrong with you. Shame.
Mm.
What if you don't have any experience while you're down here? And they actually prep you for that beforehand when you're doing your intentions. Like,
Yeah.
what if it's not the experience you thought it was going to be?
Yeah.
And of course you read that, but you're like, not fucking me.
He
Like,
said, out of everybody, not me.
I'm going to have the big
Yeah,
experience
duh.
here. I'm risking all this,
Yeah.
and so then I did purge, and the purge went out. It was smooth purge.
Yeah.
And but I'm still not feeling. I'm feeling something, but I'm not like.
Yeah.
It's not
You
happening.
said the purge has happened. Where is it?
not
You said, what's happening?
And so then they give an opportunity to take more medicine. And this was the first time that I took that invitation. And I remember I got up, and it's a really dark room because you're in this big thing they call the Maloka.
I keep forgetting it's a nice place. I was thinking you guys were in a cave again. I was
No,
like,
it's in
nice
this.
place.
It's like this big, beautiful, like you would imagine, like a big, huge yoga room, but it's all covered, and it has like a beautiful roof, and it's screened in, but it's outdoors.
Oh, nice.
And similar to like where we're at now, you can hear the wind, you can hear the howler monkeys, and all the creatures and stuff outside. And so I get up, and I go to take another dose, and they guide you over to where the medicine's at, and I'm like, fuck, it's kind of spooky.
You're like,
it's really, really dark.
Yeah.
And you have these little flashlights, so you're trying not to
Disturb
interrupt
anybody.
other people's experience.
You're just stepping on people. You're like, move.
So I take another dose, the third dose. And I remember I go back to my mat, and I'm just like, I am fucking trying here. Like,
Yeah.
I am trying to heal. And I'm like
Hello?
declaring this to the universe.
Yeah.
I'm trying to do something.
Yeah.
And so right then that thing comes online again. Something's wrong with you. What if you can't have this experience? What if it just doesn't work for you?
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden what I realized is I asked the medicine, the experience, I said, what are you trying to teach me? What are you trying to show me? And what it's trying to show me is that shame of, is this going to happen for me? Is something wrong with me? That fear, what if I came all the way down here and this doesn't work?
Mhm.
That guilt
Mhm.
about, why am I here? What does this mean? Those were the emotions that were the undercurrent of my life in my normal life.
Oh,
Right?
it's I was getting the sense of that. It's like, it's the story. It's like
Yeah.
the stuck, and you're like, what if this? What if that? And you're like, it's the undercurrent of everything, and now it was like uplifted, and that's
What
what
is
it was
wrong
like
with
showing.
me?
Yeah.
So then all of a sudden it starts to happen for me right there in that moment. I can feel it. And it's like, oh my God, like I am discharging
Yeah.
this pain. And I could feel it from from my childhood.
Uh-huh.
There was a shame around, something's wrong with me for the way I was raised, being left by myself, seeing the things that I saw as a child. And I could start to grieve those experiences one by one. And as that was happening, it's kind of like from the bottom of my legs all the way up was like the shame is at the bottom. It's like the levels of consciousness or the scales of emotion. So I'm discarding.
Yeah.
I'm discarding. And it's a childhood thing. And I'm starting to cry and I'm starting to get emotional. And the medicine or this intelligence says, it's okay for you to cry and to grieve this.
Yeah.
But you're not a child anymore.
Oh.
You're not a child anymore. You can feel this now.
Yeah.
But it's time to let this stuff go.
The story.
The story,
shifting.
the shame,
shift. Yeah.
the shit. Now I'm elevating. And kind of similar, like if you've ever used to watch the old, well, you're young, but there's a thing called Transformers.
Yeah.
And like you're breaking free and it's like I'm putting on new armor. Boom,
Yeah.
boom, boom, boom. And all of a sudden, that the room that I'm in, which they call the Maloka, turned into a pyramid. And I'm at the top of this pyramid. And I can see everything around, and it's like all gold. And it's like gold dust everywhere.
Ooh.
And I'm like, oh, thank you, God. Because keep in mind that whole first 2 nights and part of the third night, I'm like, is this going to happen to me? Is something wrong with me?
You're like, finally, it's here. I'm here.
I'm in heaven now, basically. And I said, this is my church. This is my church. This is my church. And I've never been a religious person.
Yeah.
Now, this is where it takes a really weird and interesting turn. All of a sudden, there's a voice, and the voice says, are you gay?
What? Excuse me?
Pardon me?
You said, sorry, I don't think I heard you right. Say that one more time.
Like, I'm just up in the pyramid. And
you said, I just reached the top of this pyramid, and I just heard a voice say, what?
You gay?
You're
and
like,
I go, what? and so I tried to distract myself. Now, keep in mind, when the hardest part of the ayahuasca, when I said, what are you trying to teach me? What are you trying to show me? But now I'm trying to avoid this inquiry. Are you gay? And so I like move away from it.
You said I asked for this, but I didn't really ask for this.
I'm trying to turn the page. Like, let's just forget about that.
Yeah, let's just move on.
Like, no, and I can't avoid it. I even get up to go to the bathroom.
You said, I'll be back.
I go to the bathroom. I go to the bathroom. And I go in the bathroom, and I'm sitting there. I'm like, what the fuck is going on right now? I'm having a pep talk with myself on one of the most powerful psychedelic. And then I laughed to myself because, you know, some of the religious people that are like, they say they can like cure gay people of their homosexuality.
Oh, yeah.
And I said to myself,
those, like,
I go, you should try to pray away the gay. This is what I told myself. And I start laughing in the bathroom. I'm like, what the fuck?
You said maybe it'll work. Maybe they were right.
So this is the craziest part about it. So I'm in the bathroom. I'm laughing at myself because that's funny. But the interesting thing is that, you know, I took that second dose. And so now we're getting a little bit later in the evening. And generally the experience starts at about 7:30. And then it's over at about 1 in the morning.
Got it.
So now it's about 1 in the morning, but I'm not done. Plus, I'm having this weird homosexual inquiry.
Dose. Yeah.
And so I asked the facilitator, because Paulina's on the other side of the Maloka. And when you come with a family member or a friend, they separate you. So they want you to have your own experience.
Yeah.
So there was people that were there with their sister or with a friend, or even there was a son and a father there together.
Oh, wow.
So husband and wife, they keep us on the opposite sides. So I say to the facilitator, because we've left at the end every night. Now, you can stay by yourself and down there for as long as you want.
Yeah.
There's a mat and pillows. You could stay all night. But I don't know because the last 2 nights we left right after. So I say to him, I said, hey, will you check with Paulina, see how she's doing?
Yeah.
He comes back and he goes, she's really still in the medicine right now. She wants to stay longer. The first night she said that. I said, thank God.
He said, yes.
I got some shit to figure out.
Yeah, you said, I have a lot to figure out right now.
Yes. So I go lay on my mat and I'm like, oh my God, what the fuck is going on?
Yeah.
I was just in heaven. Now I'm in this experience.
Yeah.
And I keep trying to avoid it. So then I go into this thing about I'm trying to prove now to whatever this is, ayahuasca, the Great Spirit, whatever this, who's asking me these questions, I'm trying to prove, no, I'm not gay.
Yeah.
And then so that takes me into this pornographic imagery. Because I started watching porn as a young person and I grew up around.
Most people do, yeah, especially
there
now, generations later.
Sex around me as a young person. And so now I'm trying to prove to whoever that I'm not gay.
You're like, see? I have evidence.
There's this pornographic imagery, but then it turns into some gay stuff. And then I'm just like, oh my God. And I'm like,
what's going on?
I don't want to do this right now. Why is this happening?
Yeah.
And then it says, okay, if you're not gay, do you love your wife? And I go, yes.
Yeah.
Yes. It's okay.
Yeah.
Now, one of my main intentions, like I told you before, is I wanted to be a better husband, a more sacred, masculine partner to her, and more present with presence. Now, if you're somebody that grew up with sexual ideas that were generated from pornography, there's a lot of instant gratification, there's a lot of hookups, and there's just a lot of bullshit in that world. And so even though I'm sober and living a different life for all these years, I still carry those habits and characteristics.
Well, they're built in from such a young age. And especially now, it's like there's some generations that there wasn't digital. It's not digital at all. And then now everything's right in front of your face. You can click on it right then and there. I'm worried for all the other generations coming up. I'm like, it's so bad for your brain.
It's right there.
Yeah.
And so the medicine or whoever this is, whatever this is, says, if you love your wife, why do you bring that energy into your sacred exchange?
Oh.
And I start getting emotional. I say, I don't want to do it anymore.
Yeah.
It's okay. Will you love your wife? I said, yes. And I can kind of see this energy, it's like this vision of her. And then the medicine says, well, what do you love about her? And I said, oh my God, everything, her hair, her personality, her sense of humor, her compassion, her skin, her face, her eyes, her love,
everything. Oh, I'm tearing up because I know Paulina so well. And I'm like, oh, she's everything. Just what can't you love about her?
So then it starts to happen again. Finally, it starts to happen from the bottom. Boom, boom. Now, because we went past the childhood stuff, now we're getting more towards late childhood, adolescence, when the sexual ideals started to be created based on the environment and the things that I was seeing.
Yeah.
Then I'm letting that go. Boom.
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 Get
boom.
rid of it.
Again, it's falling away. And now I'm rising up again in this evolution or this elevation of consciousness. And I'm like, oh, thank you, God.
You're like, it's happening.
Thank you, God.
Yeah.
Now I'm up in the cosmos. I'm in the stars and I'm in the planets. And as the medicine is asking me these questions about Paulina, I'm now elevated. First time it was a pyramid, now I'm in the stars.
Yeah.
And the question I keep saying is, how can I show her my devotion? How can I transmit this message to her of love? And in the stars, there's an outline and a silhouette of a head, and it's like a neon green kind of outline.
Yeah.
And it's a crown, and that's me. And then there's Paulina with the same outline, and it's a crown.
Mm-hmm.
It's like a queen, and that's her. And above us is like the brightest star in the sky. It's super bright.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm asking, how can I show her my love and my commitment?
Mm-hmm.
And the star drops right below us. And it turns into a little baby's, it turns into like a prince, like a crown
Uh-huh.
of a boy.
You're like,
I go, oh my God.
you said it's here.
It's my son.
Oh.
Oh my God. I go, oh my God. And I'm there in that moment and I'm just crying and I'm weeping. I said, oh my God. And this is how funny the medicine goes. And by the way, you're not gay.
It says, just a joke.
Thank you.
You said, oh, thanks. You're like, I was going to leave this experience and questioning my life after.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you for that.
That's hilarious.
And so that's a long story, but that is the story of how this baby
Yeah.
potentially came through, because neither of us were going down there like, oh, we want
No.
to work some stuff out to have a child.
And I've heard her side of the story too,
Yeah.
which is, I'm like, now to hear, because I know you had your own experience and I didn't know your side of the experience, and now to hear both sides, I'm like, what?
Yeah.
That's crazy.
And so then her experience was similar but different, because she had an abortion 19 years ago, and she's always maintained a relationship with her son that she thought was a son that she had aborted. And she always carried a lot of guilt around that. And she had named her son Avery, and over the last several years of her healing journey, she's wrote him letters.
Oh.
And she said he visits her during her breathwork journeys. Well, he came in the third night to her.
He
and,
said,
and
hey.
he said, I want you to have me, and I want Nick to be my dad.
Yep.
No, so when I'm having that experience and I'm in the planets and doing that thing,
She's having that experience.
and he's up there and wants to come through. And so, it's just incredible.
Just magic, like beautiful, magical. There's not
it's
even really
insane.
words to put into it.
Which brings us to this moment. And, for the people that kind of wonder about ayahuasca and sobriety, I don't ever recommend any of that kind of stuff to people.
Yeah.
But I can tell you that was the experience that I had there. I've never thought about taking any other drugs. It's never brought in some compulsion or craving to do anything else. In fact, it's quite the opposite for me. But that's just that. And so we weren't planning to have a baby. We had that experience, and we went traveling for a couple months, and I told Paulina, I go, I guess this is just what we're supposed to do.
Yeah.
Like, we're just going to be a vehicle for this child to come through.
Yeah. The soul that wants to be created. Like,
That's it.
Yeah.
And so Paulina still had birth control, and she's going in, she's in school, she's going for her doctorate degree, she's doing all these things.
Yeah.
So she's like, well, I'm going to take out my birth control when we think it's time.
Yeah.
Okay. So that happens about 2 weeks ago after our retreat that we just had. And she got pregnant within like a week of taking it out.
Oh my gosh.
I know.
That's so rare. That's so rare. I was just talking to a woman yesterday about birth control, and she's like, oh yeah, I think she's 80 now, but like obviously she's not, when she was first trying to have kids, she took out her birth control and took her over a year to get pregnant.
Yeah.
So that's
I mean, people go to these different
It's
offices. They go to
insane.
these treatments. They do all this stuff. I'm 47 years old, and Paulina's 38. So we're not exactly, super young people. She's younger than I am. And
you guys have
apparently
the spirits of young.
the
youngs.
spirits just guiding us through, and it was like, because I thought to myself, I was like, well, will this really happen? Is this...
Well, if it's supposed to happen, it'll happen.
Well,
and
and
it
the
happened
experience
within a
was
week.
so powerful. Like,
Yeah.
I'm telling you, and obviously I'd done a lot of work beforehand, a lot of spiritual work before going down there. And so then for her to get pregnant so quick, it was like more confirmation, like
100%.
this child is trying to come through.
Yeah.
And it's interesting too because when I've been reflecting on this a lot, because this just happened the last few days, and I'm doing that artist way challenge, so I'm
Mhm.
writing and I'm doing a lot of stuff, and so I've been writing about that idea that maybe we all come from the stars, and then we come through and we take
Mm.
form, and our parents are just portals that we come through.
Yeah.
And so if you think of it from that perspective, it's not like, oh, that's my son, or that's my daughter. Oh, my mom
Ah.
did this to me, or my dad, because
Oh, the
that's the
claiming of
drama,
it, the claiming
the
and like the
identity and the
yeah.
attachment that comes from that story. And so if you're able to kind of look at it from now, it doesn't mean we don't want to love and protect and
Yeah.
nurture and care for and do all the beautiful things, but there's less attachment. It's
Mhm.
like there's a connection there,
There's
clearly.
there's definitely a connection there. I think
Yeah.
about how there's different people that believe in like how different like timelines and so it's like from your past lives or whatever you believe in past lives and having the same like mom or the same like sibling or
Hmm.
whoever it is. I think it's like kind of magical to think about that of like if we are from the stars and then we're somehow connected throughout the universe in different
Yeah.
times, and it's like I've definitely met people before that I'm like, oh, I definitely met you in a different lifetime.
Sure.
Like you have that like weird connection to them and you're like, oh no, this is from the stars. You're like, no, there's no way that it's not.
Well, and if you think how distracted we are now as people, I was just talking to my dear friend Kale, my brother, and I was sharing this with him,
Hmm.
and we were connected actually during the ceremony down there. And so he's been with me on this journey, and he's my dear friend. And it's like, we're so distracted that barely do we ever even look up.
That's so true. I was staring at the stars last night and I was like, when was the last time I looked at the stars? Like, when was the last time I
Yeah.
said, what are those? Like,
Yeah.
we are so distracted and stuck on our phones and like, we're always looking down. We're always like this. And it's like, the stories are so inwards and it's like so consumed internally and about like us. And like, I'm thinking back to the breath work or the creativeness of like turning like out,
Yeah.
like look up, look out, connect to the people around you. And it's like,
Look up. Look
that's
up.
just look up, people.
Take
Look
a
up.
look.
Take a look.
Take a look around.
Look up sometimes. Just
I
or
mean,
even just
it's
like looking up
incredible.
at the sky. Like during the day, I from when I was really little, I try to always look up at the clouds
Yeah.
and look for things because I'm like, we're always looking down. Look for a cow in the sky. Why not? Just like make
Yeah.
it fun.
Totally.
The
Yeah.
play of it all. But that was crazy. I did not expect your side of the story to go that way.
It's quite the story.
Oh my, it's
Yeah.
magical. It's amazing. And now the baby's on the way.
Man, I'm writing about that, and that was kind of like where the inspiration came from. Like many stories, many things that I think are valuable about the breath work, about the IFS, and
Yeah.
about healing. But this story needs to be told, and so actually, you're the first person that I'm telling it to in a public way, on a
Oh my
public platform.
goodness.
Yeah.
I feel very honored. I feel very honored. I feel so grateful and happy that I got to hear that because I don't even have words to put to it.
Yeah.
That's amazing. And it's going to be in your book. Do you know what your next book is going to be called or anything?
I'm not sure the title yet. I was thinking keeping the Breath of Life theme, but maybe doing like Breath of Life, finding lifelong healing through breath work and parts work. But I'm not sure if I'm going to keep it on that. But that was just some
Just
of the
let it flow.
ideas. Yeah.
It'll naturally come up out of nowhere.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. And that's kind of what I've learned over the years because, starting with addiction recovery and that paradigm and what that was, then creating this community and seeing that everybody has things they need to heal from in different ways, not just addiction, not just alcohol and all that stuff, but the grief, the shame, the guilt, the fear, the anger, all of these things that we carry on the inside, and we all escape in different ways, or we all repress and suppress in different ways. And so that's what I've learned. So it's less about identification with a particular form of suffering, and it's more about feeling and taking ownership and letting go. And so that will be what the book is about. It'll because my first book was really from the lens of substance abuse addiction, addicts and alcoholics, and this is the identity, and this
a
is
lot
what
of identity
they
attached.
do. And now I've evolved away from that and just have a different story.
to
a
tell.
different way.
Yeah, you're like, I
Yeah.
have some things to tell, and you guys need to read it.
Yeah, and I
Yeah,
think
you're
it's
like
going to
me.
be really helpful for people. I know it has
Well,
been
it's
for
getting
me.
into like the feeling, and it's like even we were talking about just the shift in perspective, and
Yeah.
it's just I feel like it's so important to not only it's like yes, you can identify the feeling, but what are you feeling?
Yeah.
Like, are you actually feeling it? You could be like, yeah, I am mad, but are you just saying, yeah, I'm mad and not disconnecting from it
Yeah.
and then going into substance or
Yeah.
just distraction? Or are you overwork? Because, like, there's
Totally.
also like healthy ways of coping.
Yeah.
Not like coping, but like there's substance abuse, but then there's like overworking yourself. There's
Totally.
overeating. And it's like, well, I'm eating, right? I'm eating the healthy things, but then it's like, I I don't like extremes of any kind.
Right.
There's like when you go into the extremes of like social media or like productivity or anything,
Yeah.
what are you distracting yourself from?
Yeah.
Like, what are you distracting yourself from?
Yeah. No, Gabor Mate talks about that, and he was born in Hungary, and apparently, Nazi Germany had come,
Mm-hmm.
and he was Jewish, and maybe the family was like hiding out there, and because they were coming, the mother at 11 months old gave him to some other people to take him to keep him safe.
Yeah.
But he couldn't understand that at that age. All
No.
he knew at 11 months was that my mother gave me away.
Mm.
I was abandoned. And so that idea that I'm not worthy, I've been abandoned, I'm not good enough, carried with him in his life. And the way that he overcame that was through an addiction of becoming somebody, a doctor. You see, I'm important now. I am valuable.
Yeah.
I'm a doctor. But with that doctor was 60 hours a week working. And he abandoned his own children to become a doctor. So he did the same thing in a different way.
You're repeating the cycle because you're not like healing the cycle. You're just
to try to be validated by his
you're like,
career.
I am valued. Look at the value that I create for other people.
I am
while
worth
abandoning his kids.
My worth comes from who I am and what I do, not just because I am the essence of me from the very start was enough.
Yeah.
I don't need to prove anything. I don't have to prove my worth to anybody.
That's a big one. That's probably, I feel like I'm just now experiencing that in my life of like, okay, what is worthiness? What is worthy? And it's like worthiness and being enough, I feel like are kind of two separate things. And healing being enough and then healing being worthy is so hard because you're like, I'm enough and it has circumstances to this. You can validate it. I feel like you can validate enough so easily, and being worthy is so confusing because just from the very beginning you are.
Yeah.
And it's like to wrap your brain around that, you're like, no, there's nothing to validate it. You just are.
Sure.
And that's it. And you're just like, huh?
Sure.
That one's a hard one.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, we've all been indoctrinated into these systems that give us messages, from an early age that, we're born and there's something wrong with us, or these different things that, and even if you're not indoctrinated into a religious way, we still live in systems that were created adjacent to such structures.
That makes sense.
That say, if you don't work hard, you won't get anything, know? And if you don't keep trying and keep trying, then you're not going to make it.
Yeah, you're not going to go anywhere. There's no momentum if you don't create it.
Life, and you mentioned productivity connected to enough accumulation of things and certificates and diplomas and money and then
you'll be enough.
You'll be worthy.
Yeah.
You'll be worth it.
Yeah, you'll be worth it because you created it. Like you did all this shit, and then but it's like when you think of like super rich people, they think like money is gonna make happiness, and then they get the money, and then they're like, "Where's the happiness?"
Well, it's insatiable.
Like,
it's insatiable. It can never be satisfied, and that's the problem.
Yeah, and it's like it's just sad to think about how our society has created like those things of just being like, work. If you work more, then you're enough. Or you work more, then you'll show that you're worth. And it's like it's hard for me exiting out of that, and also seeing other people being stuck in it or exiting it. It's like a really hard process to like open your mind. You're like, hello. You're like, where have I been? I've been blind for so long.
Totally, 100%, 100%.
Well, I would love to transfer into male mental health.
Oh, the
So
mental health of the
the
males, the men's.
the men's, we love the men's.
Ha ha
So
ha ha.
you are my first men's male guest,
Yeah.
and I felt it was really just for the like past few months. I've just been it's been like hitting me in the brain. It's been like a download over and over again of like, you need to talk about male mental health. And I feel like I see so much on, maybe it's my algorithm, who knows, but it's like social media and a lot of like girls my age that are in the health community, and it's like, for the girlies, we love the girlies, or like, we love the gays only, only the girls and the gays.
Right.
And I'm like, okay, but what about the men?
Yeah.
Like, I feel a very big importance for male mental health, and I have brothers, and I have always just honestly, I've identified a little more with the masculine side for so long, but I just see such an importance to male mental health, and I want to just with you about it.
I mean, yeah, I mean, that's a very kind of broad.
It's very broad.
Category or topic. Did you have anything in particular?
Just more of like maybe from your perspective, because I don't think I meet a lot of men like you in the spirituality and health, and just I see so many men struggle with getting help and wanting to ask for help. Yep. I have to be strong. Don't cry. Do better. My brother's in therapy, and he still likes to joke. I'm like, oh, did you cry in therapy today? And he's like, no. It's like sarcasm to protect. It's sarcasm. He's like, no, I would never. And then he's like, yeah, of course I did, sis. Like, I definitely cry. Yeah. So like he'll break down, but then it's like there's that slight little line of like, no, I'm a man, and I'm like, okay, I know you're joking, and like, but it's still a protective thing. So I just kind of wanted to more. That was kind of the angle I wanted to talk about. Is like getting help and kind of your perspective of that journey.
Yeah, I mean, there's a stigma around a lot of those things, and most of the people that come to do this work here are women. A lot of times, I would say, and I don't have any like solid data on it, but it's probably 70 to 30. 70%,
yeah, I've seen people
30.
bring their boyfriends, but I haven't seen a lot of like just men come.
They do.
I do see them.
But I have had many people that have seen things about breath work, and they've seen that you might cry. And I've had people that I've talked to that said, oh, I don't want to do that. I don't want to come cry. And, and so women are more connected to their emotions in those ways. And I think there's a culture of repressed and suppressed emotions. And there's a culture for men in particular of staying strong. There's a culture of you don't want to show emotions because there might be a weakness that's exposed there. And if you expose a weakness, you might be vulnerable. And if you're vulnerable, you might be taken advantage of in some way.
Got it.
Now, whether that was installed through an ancestral line of war or colonization, whatever the hell is there, but we live in a system of that, right? Like, can you trust somebody, and if I show them who I am in business, well, they might take advantage of me. I might lose my job. I might lose my livelihood if I'm just crying and feeling emotions and
if
being
I'm just being
weak,
vulnerable,
whatever that is, right? And so I think that's passed on, especially in a Western culture, but in many cultures, in particular with men, is that it's weak to show your emotions. It's weak to feel your feelings. And so if there's an opportunity to do that, you will feel your feelings, but then you kind of shut them off again,
after.
And so for many men, there's substance abuse, there's ways that we escape to avoid these feelings. And then they suppress and they repress, and then they get internal blockages, and they'll present with mental health challenges, they'll present with physical health challenges, and that root system there is still left
at the core,
untouched and unresolved. And then from that, many different challenges are presented, because we end up spilling our shit out onto people.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that's reflected in our culture,
Mm.
with the way people talk about each other,
Yep.
with the way people blame each other,
Mm-hmm.
with a culture of projecting and denial.
Yeah.
And it's just an unfortunate situation in
Yeah.
that way. And when men heal and they have the courage to do their own internal work, take accountability for what they've done to women, take accountability
Yeah.
for the roles that they have played in creating suffering in people's lives, then they create a space where people can feel safe and people
Mm.
can heal. And a lot of people are victims, so men carry the burdens of their mothers and their fathers, and they
Mm.
carry the anger and the fear and the grief and the shame. And if they're not able to look inward and take ownership, then they will continue to look externally and blame other people. And we live in a culture of that,
Yeah.
blaming other people for their
They
situation.
did that to me.
Yeah.
You made me feel this way. Oh, when that shift happens, that victim kind of switch. I remember that happened. You're like, he did this to me, or she did this to me. They did, and then you're like, yeah, but what was my role?
Sure.
You're like, what's going on here?
But there's a culture of that. I mean, if
Yeah.
you look like,
There's a yeah. That's
I'm not going to get
it's
into
everywhere.
politics, but
No,
it's
no,
like
yeah.
there's just a
It's
blaming
everywhere.
thing on
Everywhere.
It's just they did this. If it wasn't
Yeah.
for them, if they were only as smart as I was, then they'd figure it
Oh
out.
my god.
But
Yeah.
it's always about the other person. And
Mm.
as long as you're a victim,
Yeah.
there's no space to look inward.
No, there's no space because
and
you're
it's
just consumed.
and it's easy to complain and to air out grievances
Mhm.
and to project, because most people that aren't able to do the internal work, they're literally, their whole identity can be attached to blaming and grievances.
Yeah.
And just the same, well, you heard about what they did now.
Yeah.
Can you
Oh, yeah.
believe what he's doing again?
Oh my god.
Oh my God.
Oh, yeah.
Well, but
There's
and
definitely
it's so easy to
that-
get wrapped up into
oh,
that.
100%. It's like
you know?
it's like a snowball effect, and if you feed into it more, it goes and goes and goes.
Yeah.
And then I just had a thought of like, because there in our society as well, it's like with men, it's like okay, I feel the difference. Like you have like a safe, good masculinity. Right. You are a masculine man, and then there's the other masculine of like, I feel like this negativity. It's like heavy. It's like, oh, you got to be buff. You got to be big. You got to be strong. You don't cry. Yeah. It's like there's this societal masculine. Yeah. And I've dated those masculine men, and they've mainly been abusive.
Yeah.
They'll hit you. They'll yell at you. They'll blame you on everything. Yeah. There's a lot involved in that. So I don't know. I just had a thought of like the difference between the masculine, and it's like, is it with the societal masculine? Is it the not wanting to look inwards? Like, is it that? It's like what you were kind of connecting what you were saying.
Yeah, I mean, I don't have all the answers, but
you don't have all the answers.
No, I've seen what you're talking about. I think there's a sacred masculine, and then there's like the toxic masculinity that we see, and we see that in our culture. We've seen it forever, but more so in the last, I'd say, 10 years or so. Mm-hmm. The whole red pill movement, and some of these characters that blame women for things, and that think that it's a man's place to kind of dominate.
Yeah, it's interesting.
It's very, very interesting. It's sad. Yeah. And most of these men are just completely cut off from their true essence and their bodies, and it's all a mental warfare that's happening, and so from that perspective, they're very lost. Mm-hmm. And so they take advantage of people that are vulnerable, and so people that may have struggled with trauma or had challenged relationships with their parents, they find men like this because they think it might be a protection in some way. And you're speaking
to my soul.
And then you get stuck into a situation, right, with that. And in my life, our let's just call this our society. This is a matriarchal society here, you see. And the beautiful thing about a matriarchy is that the man has a very significant role in the matriarchy.
Yep, big role.
Yeah, protector, leader, provider, nurturer, father. Yep. And then, but the matriarchal, the queen, or if you will, the divine feminine, is the guiding force. because she
Yeah.
creates life. Of course, of course.
He said,
I mean, come
duh. He
on.
said,
You know, what are we
duh.
doing? So
Yeah.
every time these men try to impose their dominance, it's just a fragility.
Yeah. It's like,
Yeah,
why? Why do this? Why?
yeah,
You're like, why battle this? You're like, what? Yeah, I've definitely been in a lot of those relationships. It's nice when you're finally able to exit out of them. It's a lot of work to be
yeah,
able to,
yeah.
because you're traumatized and you're like, oh, I'm going to choose someone that's safe
Hmm.
and big and like masculine and not,
Sure.
and then it ends up being a very hurtful relationship and then you have to heal from a bunch of other shit.
Yeah,
But
totally.
I had a question of like, do you have any advice for like the men that are, I have like someone in mind of just like they're wanting to ask for help. They're like in the in between. I think it's like, okay, I'm a man, I gotta be this, and it's
Hmm.
like I don't want help, I don't want to go to therapy, I don't want to
Hmm.
do these things.
Hmm.
But really, like deep down, they're like screaming for help.
Sure.
Come on, I want to exit out of this. I want to be a better person for my
Sure.
partner. I
Hmm.
want to be, because there's men that are in healthy relationships and they're recognizing these things and
Hmm.
that they haven't gone to therapy or haven't done the work.
Sure.
And how would they start to look for help or ask for help, or like what's a way that a man could
Yeah, I mean,
specifically?
it always depends on kind of what they're going through, what the challenges are, but I would just say listening to somebody, asking important questions is
Hmm.
really powerful. Listening with the heart, right? Not trying to fix anybody, not trying to offer solutions necessarily,
Hmm.
but just to listen.
Hmm.
And, there's different groups, there's different people that can help in the community,
Yeah.
but a lot of times there's a part that's blocking people.
Hmm.
And sometimes if we don't allow people to speak for that part,
Yeah.
and so if we get curious and well, tell me a little bit more about um, what your resistance is to, you know,
To going to therapy or whatever.
yeah,
What's the resistance?
yeah,
What's going on?
exactly. What is that about? Because from my perspective, I just want you to live to your fullest capacity
Yeah.
and to live a life that is in alignment with your highest purpose. And I
Yeah.
just have this feeling that you're not doing that.
Mm.
So what do you think's in the way?
Or even asking yourself that too, if you didn't have someone else, like ask, hey, like what's going on, like why do I feel so much resistance to wanting to get help or to wanting, because like I said, like when I feel the resistance to coming to breath work,
Sure.
what do you not want to deal with?
Yeah,
What are you trying to hide? What do you don't, what do you
totally.
really, because there's a hurt somewhere in there that you
Yeah,
don't want to deal with. And there's that pull. If you keep feeling like that pull, it's, I feel like
yeah.
it's time to go get the help or go
Well,
ask the
and for a lot
person.
of young people, suicide's a big thing these days,
Hmm.
so you got to normalize those conversations.
Yeah.
How often do you think about killing yourself? You
Yeah.
know? And people are like, whoa, we don't talk
No,
about
that's an
that.
honest question. That's a question that
No.
needs to be asked all the
You'll be
time.
surprised how many young men are like, I think about it often. It's like,
Hmm.
okay, well, then that's a good reason to maybe
Yeah.
talk to somebody.
They're like, if you think about that, however many times in a day or in a week, like that's a big sign to
Right.
go
And there's
look
a
for help.
culture of that.
Yeah.
You're a young person. My daughter shares stories with me about our younger generation and some of the men, boys that she knows that
Yeah.
struggle tremendously with this stuff. And so it's like normalizing some of those conversations,
Hmm.
finding ways for people to be connected to community
Yes.
of like-minded people. And
Hmm.
that's why 12-step organizations are great.
Yeah.
Communities where people are sharing the truth. Um, spiritual communities,
Hmm.
breath of life community,
Yeah.
but
It's the people
finding
being
ways.
honest with their
Yeah,
feelings, because when you find other people that are able to reflect that honesty, you're able to truly look and then be honest with yourself. And you're
yeah,
like, yeah, I feel like killing myself or whatever it
sure.
is. And like, I, one of the groups that I came to, I had the, not the idea, I had the purpose of coming to heal sexual trauma
Mm-hmm.
and rape. And it was specifically with men. And it was, I find it funny in a way that it was like the most amount of men I've ever seen at the
Oh,
breath work.
yeah,
And I was
sure.
like, oh, and I was like, I'm going to look at this as a sign. Cause then I
Yeah,
instantly was like, and I was like, no, this is an opportunity to
yeah,
like be honest, speak it out, and like do the breath work with all these men around that are choosing to be healthy, choosing to look at themselves, choosing to be honest with themselves
Yeah.
within the breath work of like how they're feeling. And so I felt safe enough to like share my honest of like, yeah, I was like, yeah, I've been raped and this and that. And like, soon as I spoke out that honesty, so many other people in the group spoke out. And
Yeah.
I was like, whoa. I was
Yeah.
like, wow. And I'm bringing that up of just being honest
Yeah.
and like feeling safe enough to be honest within whatever group you choose to be in.
Sure.
It's powerful.
Yeah. No, for sure. And I think that's, I mean, it's again, it's a broad subject. There's a
Yes.
lot of
I kind of
no,
threw
no,
it at
no.
you.
I mean, no. There's a lot of factors that come
Yeah.
into play, but the reality is that people are suffering, and a lot of men are suffering quietly, and so I think the real solution for that is these conscious communities of shared love and a place where people feel safe. And there's men's groups that do a lot of that kind of stuff together. One of my dear friends is one of the founders of Sacred Sons, and they're starting to incorporate men and women into some of their circles, into some of the healing that they're doing, and finding that women and men can heal together when men have done their work.
Yes.
And that a lot of the suffering from women has come at the hands of men. But they're certainly not going to only be able to heal in women's circles.
Yeah.
Like, we're going to have to heal together. But the men will have to be accountable. We'll have to
Yep.
do our work and have to create spaces that are safe.
Yes.
So people can trust.
I love that. I love that. That just made my heart so happy because I feel like I haven't really heard anyone say like, hey, there is an opportunity for us to heal together.
Yeah.
And I think that's the biggest thing of like why I wanted to bring this up is because I just feel that there is such where I'm saying there's such a big divide in my mind of like seeing of like I said, for the girls and this, and it's like, what about us healing together? What about the men? What about the opportunity of them? And like you said, there is accountability to be had. There is the steps that they need to take first to be able for us to heal together.
Yeah.
But I think it's so important. That just like hit my brain in like the perfect spot. I was like, oh my gosh, yes,
Yeah.
exactly. Yeah.
What flavor is that?
I don't know. A flavor of, I don't know. The flavor of explosion. The flavor of, I don't know. I'm like, oh my gosh. I'm trying to think of like a hallucinogenic fruit.
Oh my God. An elixir.
An elixir. Yeah. An elixir of love, of power, of healing. I don't know. But yeah, I think that's definitely. So yeah, I feel like to close out with like, so the first thing is like finding your community to heal, finding for the men out here, for the boys. Everyone says for the girlies or for the gays. I'm out here saying for the men's, for the men's and for the boys, like taking the steps of finding your community. And you said being honest and like
I think I kind
of wanted to like connect of like kind of closing it out with like kind of like steps. So it'd be kind of clear because I was listening, but I wanted to like clear it up.
Well, I mean, it depends on the challenges, right?
Of course,
so
there's
mental
a
health,
broad
category, but obviously finding somebody to talk to would be a good step. Finding a community to be involved with, whether it's a men's group, whether it's a 12-step community, because they have many communities that aren't just geared towards substance. There's a lot of different ways. There's spiritual communities to be a part of. So it really depends on the person and where they feel that they belong.
Yes.
And then, I mean, obviously some of these things cost money. Some of them are free. There's retreats and there's wellness retreats that you can be involved in, and there's different ways to get connected. But what I've found is that once you start taking those steps and you start reaching out and you start sharing, then the universe starts to conspire in your favor.
Yes.
And you keep trying different things and you keep trying new things, and then you find your way.
I love that.
Yeah.
Yes. For the men's, for the boys. Yes, we love that. I just wanted to like close it out on like that of like being just kind of giving like clear steps of that, and I definitely love that. And asking yourself the questions of like, why do I feel the resistance to wanting to go to therapy? How like, and I know it was like a big question of like, how many times am I thinking about ending my life? Like, ask yourself those big, honest questions, because I feel like those are important. And then look for these communities that you can have help in, because it's I just felt it was really important to talk about the men today, because I have 3 brothers, and I just I love them so dearly, and a lot of them are struggling. One's in therapy, the other others aren't, and I just see how much they struggle.
Yeah.
And one of my brothers, they just absolutely love the podcast and they love the TikToks and everything. So I'm like,
Oh,
oh, maybe
good.
he'll see this and maybe he'll,
Oh,
yeah, I'm pointing
what's
you
up,
out.
brother?
I'm pointing you out over there. We see you. So it'll be,
Ah,
I'm hoping that this can connect with them and connect
sure.
with the other men out there that are wanting to take the first steps to wanting help and wanting to change. So
Wonderful.
thank you so much for
You're
joining me
welcome.
today. I feel like I needed this. I felt
Good.
like it was a good way to spend Saturday. But
Beautiful.
before we leave, we are doing Flavor Club.
Flavor Club.
Flavor Club.
Flavor Flav.
There you go. I
too-
see. I should have you sing it.
Yeah, you're too young to know who that is.
Oh yeah, no, I live under a rock too. So any movies or anything. It was so funny yesterday. Someone was like, "Have you seen Clueless?" And I was like, "No, I don't."
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
so, Flavor Club is a place where we can connect, and so you can comment down below, or you can DM me on Instagram your flavor. So it's putting your feelings into flavor form. So, what are you feeling like today? What flavor is it? I gotta think about
you
mine
know,
too.
I was feeling that the conversation was real juicy,
Mm.
and so I'm feeling real like inspired,
Mm.
and so it just came across my field of awareness. The flavor was like when you get one of those watermelons and you're like, you just hope it's gonna be like crisp,
Yes.
and the texture is gonna be firm, but it's gonna be sweet and delicious and juicy, and so that is the flavor that I'm bringing in, is like a sweet watermelon.
Ooh.
And it's a inspired flavor of fresh, crisp,
Oh.
because there's that bright green exterior,
Yeah.
and then there's like the
It's like
real
kind of
bright
hard shell.
red,
Yeah.
and it's light, but it's delicious, and that's the one.
Oh. Wow, I think that's the best flavor club we've had. Oh my god. I was sitting there and I was like, I'm envisioning it. I was like, I see it.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh. Wow, you really took Flavor Club to the next level. I love it. I'm always like sitting here, I'm like, I don't know, like a potato. You're like,
It's like I was born for this.
God, that's so funny. I love that. So watermelon, as you were saying that, I was thinking like of like a grapefruit almost. It has like
yeah.
that hard exterior,
Mm-hmm.
and then I was thinking about your just like psychedelic trip. You like cut it open, it has like those little pits, and it's just like I just see these like little ideas and these like inspirations and like these just like seeds of like honesty, but also like pain and like goodness, and just like all encompassing these little seeds in there. So kind of cracking open that hard shell and then having like so much inside. So, like feeling the feelings, like inside, cracking that hard.
Crack it open.
And then just feeling the feelings. So I'm a grapefruit.
Good.
Heck yeah, we
All
did
right.
it. Well, we will see you next week. Thank you so much for listening, and I'm so grateful for you taking the time to do this.
Yeah.
So we'll see you next week.
Aloha.